Hi everyone, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Lisa.
Welcome to the Beagles Workshop, where our desire is to bring God glory in everything that we do.
Today in the Beagles Workshop is a throwback video from a few years ago. It is one that we had not published on our channel, and so I wanted to put it together and kind of show you a project that we had done in the beginning stages of the Beagles Workshop. And so we had a storm in our area, and our neighbor's tree had fallen. This type of tree is a pecan tree, and it was a burl that was on that. And so our neighbor gave us this burl. And the first thing that Johnny did was he marked the center of that burl that we'll be using to make a bowl out of. Once he had the center marked, he went over to the drill press, and he'll be just drilling out the center there that he had marked. He's using an 8mm drill bit. And now that we have that done, we went on over to our Rikon MIDI lathe, and you can see here him getting the preparations for the chuck and the jaws that we will need to hold this into place. He'll be creating a tenon to hold this bowl in place while on the MIDI lathe as he's turning. We went over to the Rikon bandsaw, and he is just going to be knocking off some of those corners to make it more rounded. We will be turning it, of course, on the lathe, but this just made it easier to work with. You can see here that he is just knocking off the edges of that pecan tree burl for our bowl. Once we had the edges knocked off, then we went over to the lathe and got that all chucked up there. You can see that the bowl blank is in the chuck there and ready to be turned. And so he is finishing getting everything ready, and then he is going to be turning on the lathe and starting to turn the outside of the bowl first. He will be able to get this as round and as smooth as he wants it, into the shape that he wants it, just by making passes. You can see the wood chips are starting to fly. This is always a part of the process that I love to watch. It is just absolutely fascinating, and I love the sound that it makes too while turning on the lathe. And so you can see here that he's just working, making passes going up and down so that he can get it into the desired shape. And again, he's working on the outside of the bowl first, and then we will be turning that bowl around and working on the inside of the bowl. So here we go. This is the outside of the bowl. You can see that tenon on the bottom that will be used to hold the bowl in place as we hollow out the inside. And so this is just what it looked like before we began hollowing out the inside of our bowl. Again, that burl was absolutely beautiful. It had a lot of color variation to it, and it was just really unique. So here we have the bowl blank back chucked up on the lathe. We have the tenon holding that in, and he is drilling out the center of that so that we can begin hollowing out the inside of the bowl. You can see here again, one of my favorite parts is watching those wood chips fly, and he is now working, just making in and out passes to get the bowl to the depth that he wants it. He will just continue to use that tool to get in there and go as deep as he needs to, so that we have enough bowl on the bottom and the sides, but again, to make a nice bowl shape. And you can see here the lathe, here is a better angle of him getting the tool in there. He's got his hand on the tool rest, and he is just getting it hollowed out in there to the depth and that he wants for this particular bowl. This is kind of what it looked like here as we were finishing with that. And so then we needed to move on to the sanding portion. And he began to go through all the grits of sandpaper, sanding the inside, sanding the outside. Just a lot of sanding goes into any project, and you can see here that he's just working away with the different grits of sandpaper to get it nice and smooth. Once we had that all finished, then we were going to be applying a wax to the inside and to the outside, to the rim of this bowl. and so we could make it shine just a little bit. So here he is applying that wax to the inside and the outside and the rim of that bowl. After it was all shined up, this is what it looked like. I'll just pause for a second and let you look. Once that was finished, we had to take it off of the lathe and take the tenon off of the bottom. And so getting the tenon off the bottom, then we were able to sand and apply wax to that bottom portion where the tenon was and get it nice and smooth just like the rest of the bowl. This was the second bowl that we had ever turned. It turned out very beautiful. This is the final product of what it looked like. This was in our shop. We just kind of had it sitting there on our table to show you what it looked like. And then I took it inside just to kind of show you what it looked like on my tabletop as well. It turned out so beautifully. You can see the different color variation in that pecan tree burl. And we were pretty pleased with the second bowl that we have turned. We've learned a lot of things since this video was made, but I wanted just to do a throwback video and show you this beautiful bowl. If you've not already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Beagle's Workshop. Thank you for watching and have a great day.